Hello, my name is Brushy Starling. Thank you for watching my video, and this is part 2 of my video series on American Girl doll photography, or doll photography in general. I find that lighting is really quite an important part of photography. It's one of those things that photographers really emphasize when it comes to taking photographs, especially if they're taking photographs of landscapes or subjects. Well, any item actually. I find that lighting has really affected how my photographs have turned out, and for a couple weeks there, when I first started taking photographs of my dolls, I've been really looking for good lighting or good times to try to find the best lighting. And for the winter months, I find that from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. is the best time in my home. I always shoot indoors. When I shoot indoors, I shoot beside a light. Right here on this side is my window, and I always shoot by it, as you can see, even with my video. And I find it's the best time and the best kind of place to shoot because it floods the place, it floods the room with light without it being too harsh. And the reason why I choose 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. is that I find that during the winter months the sun doesn't really shine through the clouds for too long. So what happens is the clouds block the sun, so it produces nice diffused light, or light that's not too harsh. It's not direct sunlight. So that's one of my rules, is always shoot between 1 to 4 in the winter months and never shoot when there's direct sunlight. When there's direct sunlight, I find that it floods the face of the dolls too much, or it floods their eyes too much, and it loses the color of their face, their features, their hair. It just loses all that color. And I find that it's actually better when you're taking a photograph to shoot in a darker setting and not flooding too much light into the picture than flooding too much. It's harder to recover a color when it's been flooded with too much light. So shoot in a darker setting than a lighter setting in terms of your camera setting. And I will talk about that a little bit more later on, okay? When it comes to your American Girl dolls, I find that shooting beside a window is optimal, and shooting beside a window produces quite a bit of light. So if you take a look, if I'm shooting right here and she's right there and she's facing the light, it produces some light in her eyes without flooding it too much. If you shoot right in front of the window, it causes a lot of light to stream in, and that's okay if you have very diffuse lighting like you do now. If it's during the morning time or during afternoon at 12 p.m., I find that shooting just in an angle produces the right amount of light. Where you want the light to be filled is on the eyes, the face, and the hair. And obviously, if you're taking a full body photograph of your doll, you should also have some of the light to face the clothing. So that's important. However, it gets a little bit more complicated if you have two dolls. If you have two dolls, I find that one has to face against the light and one towards the light. Then you have a little bit of a problem, because then one doll is illuminated or has light on it and one doll does not. So how do you go about even combating that? How I do it is, if I face a doll against the light like so, if I have something that's of a light color, such as a white cardboard box or a white piece of projection box, a lot of photographers actually use this. They do not use white per se, they use a tin foil that actually causes light to bounce into the object towards the subject you want the light to have. So I find that you can do the same thing without buying all these fancy equipment with something white. So I am using this is my bedroom curtain. It's white. So what I do is, if I shine, can you see the difference when I'm not shining the light and I'm shining the light towards her face? It causes her face to be illuminated and not have all these really ugly shadows. Ugly shadows is a no-no. It's not actually a good thing to have that. So illuminating light on a doll is important, especially if you want to take a photograph of them. I find that lots of the photos I've been looking at on Instagram, there's there's not enough light on the eyes, light in the eyes and the face. And I think that's unfortunate because the doll stories are really good. And without those extra, extra details of trying to find good light, it really ruins the picture. And I feel really bad because I would like to really tell them, you should put more light in your photos. So that's it really. I'm just gonna recap what I talked about. First of all, shoot in the time of day where there is nice, diffused, natural lighting. So my times are from 1 to 4. It's not going to be the same for everybody because everybody's place is different and everybody's country is different. So I suggest you find the time where there is light but not direct sunlight, okay? Number 2, face your doll somewhat towards the light. So not completely towards the light because it causes a lot of flooding in their face and their eyes. And lastly, if you find that your doll cannot face the light or the light faces a background where it's just not nice or pretty ugly, what you can do is face them against the light in a better background, but bounce light off a white object. That's it. Thank you. Bye.